Yes boys, welcome back to the channel. It's Bertrude and today once again we're going to be carrying on with the 50 build showcase. That's my channel icon right there. I make Elden Ring videos, I love invading, there's a few of my videos right there. I absolutely love making builds. I've got about 48 builds now spread over 5 accounts. Maybe consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed and like the content, but I've been doing this series where I'm chunking a few builds together within the same category to showcase the variation you can have within one build type. Today we're looking at all of my chunky builds, so there's going to be some big old boys in this one, but you guys just sit back, relax and enjoy the video. Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. First things first, I just want to apologise for my voice isn't sounding too great on this one today. I've been suffering with a little bit of a cold over the last couple of days, but it's not too bad and my voice is sounding okay, but I just thought I'd mention it just in case anyone picks up on it. I've had a little bit of a cold, but it's all good. So, welcome back to the channel guys. I hope you're all having an absolutely awesome day. We're carrying on with the good old 50 build showcase. We're rifling through these episodes, you know, I think we're on episode 9 now. I'm just loving it. I'm loving this series. I'm loving making these episodes. I'm loving invading. The game's so busy. Everyone's hyped about the DLC that's coming very, very soon. It's so close, guys. It's like less than a week. I can't believe how close it is. I'm so giddy, and I've got a week off work coming up next week as well, so I've got to find something to do to pass the week before it comes out on Friday. I'm going to have to pass the days. I'm going to be sitting here twiddling my thumbs, but I'm getting well excited. Anyway, chunky builds, guys. We're looking at my chunky builds today. So there's going to be a few fat boys on this one, starting off with the fattest of them all, the mass master himself, the gravity expert. This guy used to be slim, believe it or not. He used to be slim, he was a happily married man, but his obsession with these gravity weapons and the forces of gravity and learning how to use it, it became a little bit of a deranged obsession. And his wife, you know, she weren't getting the attention she deserved. She weren't getting the attention she needed. You know, she said, "I've had enough of this," and she left him. And he fell into a bit of a pit of despair, do you know what I mean? His wife left him, he had nothing left. He started eating, he turned to the drink, he started piling those pounds on, like people do when the wife leaves them, you know what I mean? He weren't the happiest of men, and he started to pile that weight on. But the bigger he got, he started to grow and grow, and the bigger he got, he actually started to create his own gravitational field. And then he returned to the weapons, and he became one with the gravity, because the gravity weapons, the gravity weapons that he was using matched the gravity pull that he was creating with his own mass. Hence the Mass Master. And here we are today. The big old Mass Master creates his own gravitational field, and he uses it against his enemies in the form of his waist and his weapons. So it's a bit of a daft build. He's a big old chunky boy. And yeah, he just loves gravity. He uses all the gravity weapons, and it's all pretty much about having a quick weapon in our main hand that we're attacking with constantly, be it the meteoric katana that we're using now, or the Alabaster's Lord Sword, the great sword that we use. We have a bit of a quicker option there that we start the invasions with. We try and hit them with the gravitational Ashes of War, but then the trick is on this build that we're always carrying a heavier gravitational weapon in our second weapon slot. So we've got a lot of endurance, but we hit them with the Ash of War on the first weapon, and then this build is all about doing those quick swaps to the second weapon to try and get a quick kill on the follow-up attack. So in this instance, we're using the meteoric katana. We try and do some damage, get some good damage with the Ash of War, and then we swap quickly to the Falling Star Beast Jaw, and we try and finish him off when they're low health on the follow-up attack there. But there's variations of that. It can either be, say, it could be the Alabaster's Lord Sword into the Beast Jaw. It could be the katana into the Ruin's Greatsword, like I'm using right now in this invasion. Or it could even be the Onyx Lord Curved Sword into the Radan's Greatsword. But basically they're all gravitational weapons, and it's always going to be that combo. It's going to be a quicker weapon, do some damage, and then we're going to be swapping to one of the bigger weapons to try and even finish the invasion, or, you know, really put them on the back foot. Swaps are available on this build if I feel like, you know, one of the bigger weapons is better suited for the job. I will often start with the Falling Star Beast Jaw in the second weapon slot, and you've probably seen it already in the opening invasions, but I will sometimes swap to the Ruin's Greatsword if I feel like I need that big impact damage, and that often saves me when I'm getting pushed or when I'm not quite doing the big damage that I need to do. I've got the option to do some swaps, but they're all great weapons on this build. It's such a strong build. This is like a ridiculously strong build. They all do some insane damage. We're using the Shard of Alexander, so we're getting some even more damage on the Ashes of War. So yeah, it's pumping out some incredible damage. And as you can see, you know, we're a big old boy. All the builds in this video are big old boys with big old poise and big old defences. So we're on the front foot already. It's a level 200 build. We've got a 60 vigor, and then we've got a 69 strength and 69 intelligence. Giggity. Oh yeah, we got that special number strength and intelligence, boys, and it's doing the do for us. So as I said, you know, it's a good old build. 200. This build was a bit lower initially. I think I started this build off, it was about 125, but over the course of using it, it's gradually made its way up to 200. I'm really not keen on having builds at the minute within 125 to like 168. I just don't like that invasion range. Sorry, 125, 150, 160. It's just gone a little bit sour for me. I don't like the invasion range, so I'm finding more and more that the builds that I had at 150 or 168, I'm using them, and then I'm just wishing they was up at 200, because 200 is just like the sweet spot for high builds. I think I've got a load of builds below 100, and then pretty much everything after 100 now. I'm generally finding that I'm preferring them to be up at level 200. But yeah, the Master, really strong build to start the video, and we've got two more builds just as strong coming up. But let's finish this invasion off now, and then we'll get into those ratings. So I think it's pretty obvious, guys, this is an S tier build, S tier performance, S tier fun factor. The weapon variation is awesome, really strong stuff and a lot of fun. Fashion, I'm giving it an A+. So guys, the next character on our chonky list is the main character build. Now what this character lacks in width and girth, should I say, is not quite as wide as the Master, but this character's chonkiness comes from his experience. Why is this guy called a main character, you ask? Well, let me tell you, this guy is called a main character basically because he is the main character. He is the first build I have ever made in this game. He's the first character I ever played this game with, is the first character I completed the game with. I've got about 300 hours on him or something like that. I never took him into New Game Plus, but I pretty much 100%ed the main game on him. He's the most fulfilled character I've got out of all of the characters I've ever made. It's like the most thorough character, if you will. Everything's unlocked on the map. Every site of grace is unlocked with this character. Like I say, he's the character that I first played the game with, and he holds a very special place in my heart. That's why he's the main character, because out of all my character, this is the OG Daddy-O, baby. This is the man. This is the one who shows all the others the way. And he's a strength faith build. I actually didn't mention with the Master. I think it's pretty obvious. Oh yes, I did, didn't I? 69 strength, 69 int. Yeah, that was the Master. Giggity giggity. But this guy is strength faith. So that's another running theme with these builds, guys. They're not just strength builds, these ones. They all kind of have their own little twist. They're more chonky in terms of the play style, should we say. That's what kind of qualifies them as being chonky rather than just strength builds. I would have a separate category for pure strength builds, but these three wouldn't be in it, as I said. These three are in their own category just because of play styles and weapon choices and yeah, visuals as well, you know. Like I said, this guy isn't as wide, but he's got the experience. So the main character, again, level 200. These are all level 200 builds in this video. He's high vigor, high strength, high faith, and he's got decent endurance. So he's a strength faith build, and he's pretty much just using a good selection of strength faith weapons. As you saw in the intro, he's got a lot of choices, and as I said, that's because when I was first playing the game, it kind of started as a strength faith build, and I weren't quite as adept at that point in making particular character builds like I am now. So I had a lot more of a varied approach to making an invader build at that point, if you know what I mean. I kind of leveled up a lot of weapons. I wanted a lot of choice. Now, you know, I'm a lot more specific in what I want in my characters, and I don't have this much weapon choice on most builds. But when I do rotate back around to this build, you know, it's a lot of fun, and I can see why people do give themselves so many options, because it's a different play style, you know. It's a different play style to how I usually do it. So rotating back around to this build, I've got all these weapon choices that are all very effective with the stats that I've got. Strength faith, these are all very good strength faith weapons. So it's fun to rotate back around to. And it's very effective. It's a very, very strong build. I'm not taking anything away from the main character. He's got some big weapons, you know. The twin blade that we were just using is probably the fastest weapon option that we've got on this build. But he's a big chunky, hard-hitting, slow-hitting boy. And he's gonna, you know, he can handle himself, is what I'm trying to say. He can handle himself. A few of our weapon selections, we've got Malekith's Black Blade. We've got the Staff of the Avatar, which I actually absolutely love on this build, with that big old bum slam Ash of War that he does. The Gargoyle's Black Blade axes. We've got two of those to use. We've got the two faith-based halberds. We've got the Great Stars that we were just using in that invasion. You know, we've got a lot of choices. Sorry about the little sniffle there again. I've been suffering with a bit of a cold. But as I say, we've got a lot of choices on this build, and we are putting out some big damage. I mean, check out this invasion. This is just a one-on-one, yeah? Simple one-on-one. But we're using the double halberds, and now this is the only build that I have the double halberd option on. It's not a playstyle that I use often, but look how effective it is against this guy. He just doesn't stand a chance. He does not stand a chance. Look at the damage we're putting out. Look at how much pressure I can keep on him. It's just unreal. It's just a perfect invasion. Flawless. It's a flawless invasion. Really good stuff. This is the character that I'm actually gonna play the DLC on. I was deliberating for a while. I couldn't quite decide which character to take into the DLC, but then it hit me like a sack of spuds, you know. I was like, why is it even an option? It should not be an option. You completed this game once with the main character. He was loyal to you. He stood by your side for all this time. He deserves the DLC first. So he's getting it. he is getting the DLC. I've decided I was going to use a different build initially. I was thinking I was going to use one of my fire-based builds. But no, I've come around, I've seen sense, and it's got to be the main character who gets the DLC first. Just because, like I say, he deserves it, he stood by me, and he's getting the first playthrough. And I can't wait, guys, I cannot wait. I am giddy as a kipper. I am super excited. I am queefing all over the place. I'm just really excited, guys, and I cannot wait. I've got a week off as well next week. Week off from work, which is going to be absolutely awesome. But yeah, bring it on. So yeah, this is the main character, guys. A few more really good invasions there. And yeah, let's take a look at the ratings for this build. So again, guys, it's an S tier performing build. Absolutely awesome. So much damage being pumped out. Fun factors an A-, still really fun. Fashion's an A+. Good build all around. Now, boys, now, we are on to the chonkiest of them all. Look at the girth of this man. Look at the size of him. It's Greasy Graham, the greasiest man in the lands between. He leaves a trail of grease behind him. You know, like a snail. He leaves like a snail trail of grease behind him. And that's because he's greasy. Now, Graham had a hard upbringing. Graham, as a child, was always on the chunky side, you know. He was always chonky. Graham's been chonky since birth, and growing up it was hard. The other kids bullied him. He didn't have many friends. You know, they called him all those big old chonky names that at the time he thought weren't very nice, but he's come to love it. He's come to love his chonkiness for a reason that I'll tell you shortly. But growing up was hard. And then, like, you know, he didn't have many friends in lower school. Then in high school he didn't have many friends. Then he went to university. And he still got bullied for it. He still didn't have many friends, but he was clever. He was a clever man. And he started to study the sciences. He started to study it all. And I told you he was greasy. He started to study his own grease, do you know what I mean? He was that big. He was very sweaty, he was very greasy. And they started to call him Greasy Graham. But his brain took over. And he realised that the grease he was creating had its own values that he could use. And one day he picked up this weapon and he smeared some of his grease on it, and he realised that it had all these awesome effects. Like he could put people to sleep with his grease, and he could make people bleed, and he could poison them with his grease. His own greases that he created. So he's got an endless supply of grease basically. And what he did, he put those greases on his weapons, and he went out and he went and killed everyone that was giving him a bit of jip in uni. And he just had created a mass murder. He went on a mass murdering rampage with his grease. And Greasy Graham is a name that is now feared in the lands between. And it's a name that he wears with pride. Oh my god. What a story. Well, that's the story, guys. That's Greasy Graham, you know. He uses his own greases on his own weapons to great effect. And look at this red in this invasion. What an absolute schmeagle. What an absolute muppet. What are you doing, son? What are you doing? You've just got yourself killed because you turned on Greasy Graham in an invasion where we should have been friends. We should have been friends, but you did the wrong thing and now you're dead. And now it's up to me to steal all the glory and kill this host. So this is an arcane build, guys. Again, it's at level 200. We've got 200, we've got 65 bigger. 35 faith, and then it's an 80 arcane build, this one at level 200, 80 arcane. And we're pretty much using all the greases. You've all seen it before. but I like to do it in a bit of a different way. I'm using all the greases on this build, and the game plan is to kind of use all of the greases, you know, rotate. I try to rotate all the greases within one invasion. I don't like to just use a sleep grease, which is what you see a lot of people doing. It's very easy to abuse. It's a bit OP, to be honest, but that's not the way I kind of approach the invasions. I like to try and start out with the poison. I'll start out with the poison grease, try and inflict poison. I'm actually using the Kindred of Rot's Exaltation talisman, so I inflict poison to get a slight damage buff from that talisman, and then I'll start to rotate the greases within the invasion. I'll poison them, and then I might try and get a blood proc using the blood grease, and then I usually try and finish them off with a sleep grease, try and put them to sleep, but then I try and combo that into one of the many awesome incantation options that we've got on this build. There's nothing more stylish than putting them to sleep and finishing them off with a big Dragon Maw Chomp or a big Grey Rolls Raw, or, you know, various options within the builds. All of our incantations at this level are doing insane damage, so if I manage to sleep you, it's pretty much a done deal. It just comes down to how stylish I can make it. Dragon Claw's hitting really hard. I've got Theodorix's Magma on the build as well. That is the ultimate if I can land it. But, you know, that's a tricky one. Out of all of the incantations, Theodorix Magma is actually quite tricky. They can often wake up before that actually lands, but I have done it in the past where I get a kill in that way. Put them to sleep, and then Theodorix Magma, all up the grill, all up in the face, yo, and it absolutely destroys them, and it's so stylish. But this is the last invasion of the video, guys. Let's take a look at this for Greasy Graham. It's a bit of a tricky one. I'm in the Haligtree, and I've got this trio, and they're just being super hard to approach. We've got a wizard who's just spamming spells, and he's putting the big ice storm down, and then he's got these two summons who are also, you know, doing decent damage. I've got to watch out for them, and it's a bit of a standoff. You know, I was here for a while just trying to figure them out, doing a little prodding and poking and just trying to find a way in. You can see they're doing a lot of AoE spells and incantations trying to keep me back, but I soon do find a way in, guys. Trying to send a few pest threads over there. Pest threads is actually very underrated, you know. If you build into it like this build does, it does a lot of damage. Pest threads is actually, I actually quite like it. But I see my opportunity now. The PvE has helped me gain a little bit of space. And then here we go, guys. What a way to end the video. So let's take a look at the ratings for good old Greasy Graham. Once again, guys, S tier build, S tier fun factor, S tier fashion. It's just an S tier build all around. It's an absolute beast. What a guy, Greasy Graham. And that's it, guys. That's all the invasions I've got for you today. I hope you've had a great time watching. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you all in the next one.